this webinar as a lead up to our Deafblind Awareness Month that's in June. We are doing this in partnership with SEDB, the Society for the Empowerment of the Deafblind. So over to Namita. She's going to introduce all the speakers for today.
Yeah. All right. Welcome, and so lovely to have such a big turnout. I'm very, very thrilled to have with me three old students and good friends, current colleagues, as well as an old colleague and very good friend, Mrs. Shipra Ghosh. I'd like to introduce them in turn. Many of you have met Zamir Dale in our first webinar. Zamir comes from Maharashtra. He was born deaf and started losing his vision as a little kid. But he was lucky because he found his way to the Helen Keller Institute for the Deaf and Deafblind in Mumbai quite early, where he had access to their expertise in deafblind education. And you will see how much it has impacted his life to have this access. Beside him is his interpreter, Amresh, who will tactile interpret our conversation and will also voice for Zamir when he signs to us. Zamir is the founder of an organization called the Society for the Empowerment of the Deafblind. And this is a unique and pretty fabulous thing, that a group of people who are deafblind can come together and create by themselves a registered, recognized organization through which they want to create a voice for people who are deafblind in our country. If you did a Google search for Zamir Dale, I am sure you'll see numerous articles and numerous videos, and I'd encourage you to do so, because it really is an important and unusual, even all across the world, that there is someone of this capacity doing what he does. The next person I'd like to introduce to you is Pradeep Sinha. Pradeep Sinha was born deaf and lost his vision quite early in life, just like Zamir. But unlike Zamir, he only heard about, or his family only heard about Helen Keller Institute when he was about 12 years old. But in spite of this late start, Pradeep has completed a school education and training in computers and has a job at Dell in Bangalore, working as a technical analysis and research person. He also volunteers and works beside his childhood friend Zamir as the chairperson of SEDB. We have a small problem. Beside him should be his interpreter Shripati, but Shripati is stuck in the great traffic of Calcutta. Shripati is deaf himself, and he will watch Rajesh as Rajesh signs and pass on his signs in tactile sign language to Pradeep. When Pradeep has something to say to us, he will sign and Rajesh will voice. And in this complex way, we will still all stay connected and we'll still all be able to have a conversation. This is, of course, assuming that we get Sripati soon enough. Next, I'd like to introduce Saurav Ghosh. Saurav was born deaf and had very little vision. He's blind in one eye, has little vision in the center of one eye, which as he's grown older is getting worse. So you'll see him and his characteristic way of looking, turning his head and using his one good eye to look at us at the screen. There was, as a little child, no school for the deaf or the blind accepted him, although they lived in our capital city. And there's a wonderful video of his mother and his family, and they discuss his early years and their search for services. Thanks to the strong advocacy and the determination of his mother, Mrs. Shipra Ghosh, today, after a range of educational and vocational experiences that she was able to somehow find in this country, none of which were really ready as yet to serve children who were deafblind. Saurav today is a teacher. He's an assistant teacher at an NGO, Ishwar, based in Delhi, serving the urban poor. And using Saurav's great skills of creativity, his love and patience and kindness with little children, I can imagine that he is a fabulous teacher. Beside him, representing the voice of families of people who are deafblind, I'm very, very, very happy to introduce Mrs. Shipra Ghosh. I knew Shipra as a parent and simultaneously as a teacher because, as with many parents in our country, Shipra educated herself, professionally qualified herself in order to support both her son but also reach out to other families. So, many things, many wonderful people. I do hope Shripati will join us soon so that Pradeep can truly join and access this conversation. But in the meanwhile, we will start with the other speakers, and I'm turning it over to Teresa. Let's just begin.
Okay, so many of you have probably heard of deafblindness either from our previous webinar with Zamir or from the movie Black or by hearing the life story of Helen Keller. But have any of you met a person who is deafblind? Have you interacted with a person who is deafblind? I'm sure most of your answers are no. And today, this is what we hope to do. We hope to bring you closer in touch by meeting families and individuals who are deafblind. We had asked all of you to send in any questions you had for the speakers. And the questions that poured in were around the huge topic of awareness. And we categorized these questions into two big topics. One is, can deafblind people work and lead a fulfilling life? The second, how can we as citizens help? So we're just going to dive right in. We're going to kickstart with the first most common question, which is, can a person who is deafblind find a job? And how will they communicate with their co-workers?
What I really wanted to do was to ask Pradeep this, because Pradeep works in a company. But we're going to give him a little break until we find an interpreter so that we can actually ask this question. But in the meanwhile, may I pass this question on to Saurav? Saurav, you work as a teacher in an NGO called Ishwar. Can you tell us a little bit about your work? Can you talk to us about how it was pre-pandemic? What do you actually do? How do you manage as a deafblind teacher of hearing, sighted, naughty little children? So the question is to Saurav.
Namita, will you please repeat the question again, because I was offline for a moment.
Sure. The question to Saurav is, can he talk about his everyday? This is, we are asking before the pandemic. How does he work? How does he manage to go independently to work, to do his job, although the children are hearing sighted? What is it that he actually does?
Yes.
Hello.
This is Saurav speaking. I hope everyone is good. So as you all know, my name is Saurav. And my sign is this. Thank you.
Long ago.
So before, in the year 2018, when everything was good,
was no time then.
So there was no issues like the pandemic and all.
In the night I go to sleep.
I used to sleep in the night, and my mother, my parents, and my family
They sleep in the night.
are also sleeping, are with me at home.
I thought I let them
And in the morning, so I sleep with my mom and every night. So my mom wakes up early to cook. She cooks chapati and different food, and she makes my food ready. She also take care of the tablet. And once she finish all her work, and then I wake up. Yes, like everyone, I start my day, do my daily duties. I take bath, get ready for my work. So I take a tea, good sip of tea in the morning. I love tea.
Breakfast.
And then the breakfast. And then I have different dishes. And then I pack my lunch. Like I said, mom knows, and she, in fact, raised up early to make the lunch ready for me. So I take that in a bag. In a fresh morning, I go to work. So I go around. Once my mom also leaves for work, my dad stays at home. And my brother also takes his car and goes for work along with my mom. And then I by myself, I walk in this place called CR
Ishwar.
Ishwar. Sorry. So of Ishwar NGO. So I walk to Ishwar every day. So I go by myself without any support.
Saket. It's near Saket.
It's near Saket in Delhi. So going, I'll be very focused. You know, I have to focus so that I'm not getting distracted by anything else. I have to walk safely and come back. So once I reach there to my NGO where I start my teaching, so it's not just a few days. Every day, this is my typical day looks like to go to the NGO. And after finishing my teaching, I'll wait till the NGO is closed. So
Ishwar.
so the Ishwa NGO near that place, I would be the first person to go in. There'll be no children when I go.
Make everything neat and clean. And then all the kids start coming.
Then the kids start coming. So only few children that I teach. It could be 4 to 5 children in groups. So we chat, we learn a lot together.
Then the teacher comes.
And the teacher comes.
And the teacher comes at 10 o'clock. And we read from the books.
This is fantastic, Saurav. This is really,
Take
really
notes.
interesting. This is exactly what I wanted. I wanted to understand what does work actually look like. I'm going to switch to Pradeep. Tutan, are you with Pradeep? Tutan, can you hear me? Pradeep, are you
Tutan?
ready? Tutan is Pradeep's nephew, and we are hoping he'll be able to help until the interpreter comes. Let me spotlight. Can I remove spotlight from everybody else for a minute? No, it might miss
Let's just
this.
move to Samir.
All right. Until they, no, they are chatting. I think.
Okay,
Okay.
let's just move on to, let's ask Samir his question. Samir, you are,
Wait.
Amrish?
Hello,
Yes.
Pradeep want to say something.
So this is Pradeep speaking, saying
He's
that
asking if
my
he's right.
deaf interpreter, Shripati, couldn't come on time because of some unavoidable reason. So this happened. I couldn't participate very well in this webinar. I think he's having some problem with his bike. So he got a breakdown and just he responded to me in WhatsApp.
Okay.
So he's saying I think he cannot make it today. It's
Okay.
very difficult for him to come.
Right. Fair enough. Okay.
So you tell me how we can take this forward.
Is Tutan still there? He still has a problem. Yeah.
So basically, I'm left without an interpreter.
Okay.
So my tutor also has some
Yeah.
classes, so he has to leave. So I don't know what to do.
Tutan, just tell him, don't worry. Can you just talk about your work? Can you tell us about your work at Dell before the pandemic? How has Dell helped you work independently?
This is Pradeep. I don't have interpreter. I don't know how I can take this forward.
Okay, then tell him, yeah.
I'm really sorry for this.
Okay,
Maybe hopefully in the next webinar we'll.
No problem, Pradeep. Thank you for coming. It's a brilliant opportunity to understand the difficulties that just a lack of access can bring. It is the reality of our situation. Pradeep is employed at Dell. He has a good job. He's very independent. But in our situation today, without having access to an interpreter, there's really nothing much we could do. It is unfortunate, and he is an extremely personable and charming young man. But this is just our reality. Never mind, we will surely have more things to share with you. We will be posting things, and we will continue to have webinars. So he will be back. Do you want to,
Yeah.
Zamir?
Amrish? Okay, Samir, hi. You are the founder of SEDB, an organization empowering individuals who are deafblind. What are some ways in which SEDB helps or plans to help overcome challenges that deafblind people have with employment.
Great. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks to Chaitanya Trust for this opportunity to talk to all of you. So right now, about what SEDB is doing, we would like to train a lot of deaf blind people because they have a lot of issues finding employment. So throughout India, we have a lot of barriers to gain employment, and I have a lot of deaf people and deafblind people who are in the same situation. So they keep asking me to help them find suitable employment for them. So I try and advise them that they could probably do some kind of self-employment opportunities. So we also have a WhatsApp group wherein we have a few members who are deafblind and who are deaf also. For example, Saurav is also a member of that group. So through that WhatsApp group, we share ideas of what kind of business we could do. It is very difficult for deafblind people because the language is also not very good. So we try and post very short messages for them to understand. For example, candle making, or we make some kind of tactile designs, the tactile art. So those are the kind of things that we like to do. So anything else you'd like to ask?
I think Zamir has answered it all, but we do have a question for Shipra. Hold on. Namita, you want to take that?
Sure. So, Shipra, even in the midst of all this problem that Pradeep has, even in the midst of all the challenges, the one thing that comes across when I see these three young men, Zamir, Pradeep, Saurav, the one thing that really stands out to me is their confidence. They are so sure that they can do anything. They are so sure that they can manage. As a parent, what is your advice? How what would be your advice to other parents and to teachers? How did you manage to raise this young man to be so competent, independent, confident, and happy? Shipra, you're in mute, Ma. Can you unmute first?
Yeah, sorry. Okay, hello everybody. I am Shipra Ghosh, Saurav's mother. And what you said now that nowadays if we see Zamir, Pradeep, Saurav, they are so confident, their life is so good like normal people. And maybe the other people get surprised how it is possible. But I tell you, there are lots of sacrifices, hard working, patience, and so many things behind this because of what today they are so successful. I remember when I went to Helen Keller, Zamir was hardly 18, 19 years old. Pradeep was maybe 14 and Saurav was 10, 11 years old. And this time, Namita knows how hard work these children were. Every day morning they used to go to from Borivali to Baikala by a bus, and it took more than 1 hour. And after going to school, they are doing lots of activities. Their schedule was packed. after coming from there at 3:30, someone used to go to the market to buy some essential things. Someone were assigned to clean the door and this and that. And on Saturday, Sunday also they were not free. Everybody's work was assigned. Zamir used to go to market to buy some groceries, which he did not like at all. Saurav and Akhtar was supposed to clean the car, and these things they were do. And 8 years, 9 years, deaf-blind children were there in the hostel. So you can imagine that it was so, it was, I will not say pathetic, but I used to feel so sorry that these children far away from their family, they were not near. Someone is to come from Chandigarh, someone from New Delhi, someone from Calcutta. But of course, hats off to their parents who sent them in the early age in Helen Keller. And because of that, I think they were supposed to become successful. And Saurav, I tell you very frankly, from the very beginning, I treated Saurav as a normal child when I understood that his IQ was normal. At the age of 5, when I tested his IQ was normal. Maybe I can say more than normal. So I started behaving with him like a normal child. I never thought that he's deafblind. So I must say to all the parents, I know it is very difficult because I'm also a mother of a deafblind child. It is very difficult to say, but I must say only one word which is very important, that is patience. That is patience, because I know Namita knows me very well. My small family was one side and the whole world was other side, and I was so targetful. I was so focused. I forget about everybody. My work was to do with Saurav. And when I went to Helen Keller, Saurav was I think 8 or 9 years, and Gaurav, my younger son, was 1.5 years. And you understand, as a mother, it was really a struggle. During the assembly, when the children used to go for the assembly, by that time, I used to change the Gaurav's dress and I used to make Cerelac for him. Within the 10 minutes, I finished everything, and after that, I went to class. So, but I'm happy that I was able to do all that. I really am blessed by God. God has given me strength. I was able to do that. That's why today I'm very happy. And what the discipline I taught, that I tell you, ki I always used to tell my younger son, ki never say blind, never say deaf. You have to, give them respect in a different way. You can say they are hearing impaired or visually impaired, like that. And till date, I taught him when he was just 4 years, and till date he is maintaining that. And recently, my younger son got married, and I must say that all the rituals he followed, and he told his wife, he is my elder brother. He is 5 years older to me, and he told his wife, touch his feet. He gave respect as an elder brother. That was amazing. I didn't teach him anything. So I tell all the parents, please behave with your children like normal children. You can scold them, you can love them, you do everything what you do with your normal children. Don't isolate them. If you isolate them, then there will be a target, there will be a tagline on them if they are deafblind. Nee, he can't do that, he can't see that. If we do like that, then they will become more special. So we will not do it. And only patience. If you have patience, of course you will reach at your goal.
So I think that really does capture your spirit, Chipra. I think it was a lesson to me as a very young teacher to really see the way you always treated Saurav, required Saurav to be his age, to do everything, whether it was help you, help others, look after his little brother. That expectation you had, I think, was a very good lesson to me as a teacher. I have a quick
And
question.
I think, yeah, I think the mother will be more clever than the deafblind child, because Namita knows how clever Saurav
Be
is.
clever.
He is still dead. So one day he was telling me after going to school, I can't write today. So I asked why. Then he said, my first finger in my foot is hurting. So Vanika, do you write with your foot? So he said, no, I write with my hand. I mean, nothing is in your hand. So please come on, sit and start writing. That time he was telling me, you are too much. So if we treat them, okay, Mama, today you can't do. So next day, they are supposed to do the same thing. But if they understand, you are understanding what they are going to say, so then they won't have any questions, or they will not do like that. So there are so many stories about Saurabh that Namita knows. When me and Namita started working, Namita was just 21 or 22 years old. So Namita knows each and everything about Saurabh.
Yes.
Yeah, Namita.
Thank you, Shipra. Zamir, just a quick question to you before we have one last and wonderful video to share on this topic. Many people had questions about what work is possible for someone who is deafblind, and already you've seen a range. It's possible to be a teacher of children working in a slum. It's possible to work at Dell. It's possible to start and establish your own NGO. So clearly, almost anything is possible. Zamir, can you tell us from your perspective, what is the biggest barrier? Because equally, I will say, I have invited three speakers, all of whom have jobs, but we do know that the vast majority struggle to find jobs. Can you speak to us a little about what is the biggest barrier? Why is it so difficult for them to find jobs?
Okay, previously about when I was in school, when I was studying at the Helen Keller Institute for the Deafblind, I learned a lot of things, and even though I couldn't see, I learned a lot of things. And our principal helped me to study a lot, and I learned a lot. And we had a lot of visitors, a lot of companies who came over there to offer jobs. We have a set of jobs for people who are disabled. So we had some kind of training programs over there. So when I attended them, those kind of trainings, I could understand what kind of jobs deafblind people can do. So I asked my principal, Ms. Beros Vacha, what we could do, what kind of training we can get. So Ms. Beros Vacha, she helped me, she sent me to the National Association of the Blind, where I did a lot of activities and I learned a lot of things like tailoring. So even my even my mother is a tailor, so I could relate to that, and I could do a lot of work with tailoring. I also learned about being an electrician for a year, but I didn't like that vocation, and I saw that some of the deaf and some of the blind people were learning computers, so I was very interested in that, and I joined a computer course. But the instructor didn't know how to train me. So there was a person, a deafblind friend who I had from the United States, from America. So they showed me the braille display unit. His name is Bapin, a deafblind person who was from America. He showed me the braille display unit and how we can connect it with the computer. So when I saw all that, I was really interested, and I tried. I went to Ahmedabad in Gujarat. I joined a computer course over there and I learned computers. Then I came back to Pune. And near my house, there was ITS center. So that was, I studied along with other non-disabled children. So it was a very fun time at that point of time. We could communicate through the tactile method. They used to write on my palm, and it was a very good experience for me. So when I was a student over there, a lot of people got to know that I was able to learn computers. So I got a lot of help from all the students over there. So first I learned how to connect. So slowly when I learned how to connect the mouse and what is the monitor and the different things that we could do on the monitor. So they used to write on my palm. So whatever is displayed on the monitor, and each and every day I used to sit in class for an hour, and finally I got the certificate. And after that, I've always been trying to start computer courses for the deafblind at the institute. And later, with a lot of effort, we started a computer class at the institute itself. So I tried to get as many deaf-blind people as possible. We tried to get as much as assistive devices, braille devices as possible. And Pradeep was also there, and he also learned computers, and now he's got a very good job at Dell. So I'm very happy with that. And Akhtar is also there. He works at home, and we have different people who do a lot of different things right now.
So I think
Namita,
Namita, yeah, go ahead.
Namita, I would like to add a small answer of this, what the question you asked to Zamir. Because you asked what are the barriers of the society that the deaf-blind children are not getting jobs. Okay,
right.
What I feel the most important is awareness. The people in the society, they are not aware of deaf-blind children because they think deaf-blind means they are mad. It's a very, very, what to say, very bad word they are using. But they don't understand the brain. What is the brain? Brain is totally different. They work with their brain, with their intelligence. If they have IQ normal, they can do lots of things. Only the thing is they have to understood how the thing is going on. Whether they can see or they can hear, it doesn't matter. If they understand by their brain, they can work. So I think the awareness of the society, the awareness of the people, they should know that they can also do lots of work. And if I think some people who explain about this deaf-blind, suppose you are taking me in a company, maybe the company wala would not give me job, but if you explain that she can do lots of work, you can give us some work. And if you explain about me, maybe then they will develop trust on you. Otherwise, it is very difficult to make the layman understand how expert they are. They can do lots of work.
I think that's a very, very good point because, as Zamir said, uh, all the students at that time were exposed to a whole range of work skills, but not every one of them has an appropriate job. I think Saurav has a job that matches his interest, his ability, his talents, probably not the pay he deserves, but at least he is doing something that is valuable to him. Couple of them, like Pradeep, is working and using his knowledge and his ability and truly contributing. But when I think of many of the other students, like Akhtar, their ability is something, but truly there is no awareness, and they are struggling to find their way. In case anybody in this audience has any doubts about the possibilities of people who are deafblind to manage life, to find their way, we have a wonderful video from another member, Sunil Abbas. who is also a member of SEDB, who talks to us, who answers this question about work and life and community. So just a short video. How short is it? Yeah, maybe 2 minutes. Do enjoy. He's fabulous.
Hello,
Hello.
my name is Sunil Abbas. My sign name is this. I live in Chennai. Chennai is in Tamil Nadu, India. I'm deaf and blind, and I was born in 1980 in a city called Trivandrum, which is in Kerala. From 2003 to 2010, I was working. Now, how could I do this? It was hard because my vision was getting so poor. At first, I had no idea what to do. I would type, but couldn't see things on the screen. I thought I must find a way. I thought, how? Then I discovered the cursor can switch between white and black. I understood. I could switch between the two and pick the one that worked for me. Like this, I tried and practiced until I got good. What I really like to do is computer hardware repair. That's my thing. I couldn't see well, but I could touch and figure things out. This is good, that's wrong, and then I can fix it and I can do this really well. Then I was looking for a job, and one of my friends helped me to get a job. At first he was hesitant, but after seeing what I can do, he offered me a job. Work was good, but after a while I found it really hard to travel. Then I realized if I can work out of my own place, I can do so much better than traveling every day. Traveling was very difficult for me. And when I understood this, I know I have to make a change. So in 2010, I quit the job and set up my workstation at home. I started getting work orders from home. But I also noticed that I'm even losing my limited vision. So I started looking for technology that can support me. Technology that can help me access information and also help me to converse with others. I remember back in 2000, I used to have a black and white phone and I'll use it very close to my eye. Along years, phones have evolved to color phones and smartphones. With the current technology, there are options to invert colors or change contrast. It was difficult, but I pulled through with the help of technology. So how will I know if there's someone at the door and using the calling bell? I have a flickering light at my home. But with just one light, it was difficult for me to notice. So I connected a series of bright yellow lights to my entire home. I designed the board and I was happy to see my room glow when someone's at the door. I don't like to be dependent. I wanted to be independent and find solutions to all my barriers.
Oh, you just gotta love this guy, really. He will return in a moment, answering another question. We said right at the beginning that many of you asked us questions. We grouped them together, and there were many questions. I see some more in the chat box around getting jobs, keeping jobs, earning, managing the different things like traveling independently or communicating with your colleagues. If possible, we will answer some of those while on the session, but if we run out of time, I see we don't have much time left. We will certainly both post as well as reply after a conversation with all our panel members. But Zamir, I do want to move on to the next topic, the big topic, which is all these people who are here in our audience, many of them are not experts, they are not professionals. They are the people you'll bump into on the road, they are the people who run small businesses, they're the people you'll meet on a bus. What would you like the community to know? What do you think the community should know so that your lives, your day to day lives, become easier? Just practical stuff.
Okay. Previously, even I had a lot of issues finding employment and finding technology to help me with the employment or the job I had. So a lot of people also asked me how we could resolve this issue. Previously, I was working with an NGO, and I had similar experiences, and I was working as an advocacy person. So I visited a lot of places in India, and a lot of people were asking me how to resolve this issue. And then when I met the people from Enable India, so there they had a lot of training, skill development training, and they were able to find jobs for people who were disabled. So they did a very good work in this regard. So I asked them to help me out to find employment opportunities for deafblind people. So that is how Pradeep and Naveen have found jobs. What I plan to do is I plan to collaborate with Enable India, and we are going to organize this conference in 2022. So one of the main focus area is to find employment for deafblind people. Another one is health and wellness. So the theme is wellness through independent living. So that's going to happen in 2022. So discussions are going on right now. So during that conference, I hope a lot of different companies would visit us and offer employment opportunities for all our members, and also hope that the government officials will also come and gain more awareness.
Oh, never mind.
Okay, so as Amir was saying, there is going to be this conference. It's the national conference. It's going to be held next.
Okay, Zamir is sorry about that. He's saying that when you see a deafblind person on the road, for a blind person they use the white cane, and for deafblind people we use the red and the white cane. So when people look at us, they probably don't know how to, help us, or they don't know how to treat us. Sometimes we have problems crossing the road because we might get in an accident and we stand on the side of the road expecting somebody to help us. We keep waiting, we try to voice and we try to shout, but people don't really help us. And we have to try and find somebody, probably a very young person or a very poor person on the road, a beggar or somebody. So we'll ask them and try and gesture with them, and if they are able to understand, they try and speak back to me. So I try and gesture that I can't hear, I
You
can't
have to
see,
be
and I'm
clearer.
on the road. And I hold his hand and tug on him. He tries to speak, and I keep tugging, and then I ask him to hold my hand. And first, he might not understand. First, he might hold my cane. If he holds my cane, then it's really difficult for me. I get really scared because I won't know how to move.
Amresh, we're not able to hear you
I
clearly.
ask for my hand and then cross the road, thank him, and then I proceed. So it's, like we have so many issues. And even on the road, we have so many barriers. We have to keep walking with the terrain is not good. So there's a lot of issues with that, even while walking on the road. So even if I meet somebody on the road, if I want to communicate, then I try to write on their palm. They take back their hand and try to speak back to me. They think that I'm just a blind person. They don't know, like for a red and white cane, it means that they're a blind person. So they think it's only a blind person. They keep speaking to me. I need to be very patient. So when he keeps talking, then I just, keep nodding my head slowly, not trying to interfere with what he says. I try to hold his hand, but he takes it back. So I try and gesture that I can't hear, I can't speak, and I can't see. So when I gesture and when the person slowly understands and when he gives his hand and I try to write on his palm, and finally, when they learn that this is how they have to do, then they help us out. So if he has some other work to do, so he actually explains to the other person that you have to write on his hand because he can't hear and see. So if he wants to cross the road, then you have to help him out, and that other person understands and he helps me out. So he writes on my palm where to go, which location to go. So like we try to communicate by writing on the palm, and slowly that's how it happens.
That's so true. Like these are two simple things that everyone can remember. If you see a red and white cane, you know that the person using it is someone who is deafblind. And if you want to make them know that you're there or you want to say something to them, tap their arm and write on their palm. It's two very simple things that can go a long way. So while we're talking about awareness, we hope that by now all of you have gotten a chance to be more involved and have got like a closer interaction with the deafblind people on our panel. But there is something that you can do this year. Every year during the month of June, we celebrate the birthday of Helen Keller. And this year, we're doing something a little different. And it's also extremely exciting. Zamir, in the beginning of the webinar, had spoken about deafblind people liking to do tactile art. And there is this organization called Deafblind International, and they are organizing a global event. So people from all across the globe are taking part in this art installation called yarn bombing. I don't know if any of you have heard of it, but yarn bombing is simply tactile art put up as an installation for everyone to come and see. Chetna Trust, along with SEDB, will be hosting this event this year. Yarn bombing is an exciting and fun and creative way to engage members of the deafblind community. Each knit or crochet tactile square cloth will be attached to cover a designated object in our city or just a space. Our goal is to increase awareness and the knowledge of deafblindness. So you can participate in the event wherever you are. Ideally, you should be in India. If you are interested, please get in touch with us. What you see on the screen now are yarn bombing that is being done and covered over different objects. So if you look at this screen, people often knit and cover large spaces like these walls and the trees you saw before. So this is what we hope to do, and we hope to have this up in such a way that anyone who comes across it in Chennai would be able to look at it and know more about deaf blindness, want to understand and want to help. We will be constantly posting on our social media, so you can stay tuned to that. We will also be posting stories throughout the next few months, where on our YouTube page and on Instagram, where we share stories of people who are deafblind. We're doing this in collaboration with SEDB as a build up to the Awareness Month in June, and also to the NCDB conference in February, which we are all very excited about. So we hope that you'll all participate and support us in any way that you can. Before we move on to questions, we do want to share another short clip of Sunil's. He shares his thoughts on how we can be more helpful as individuals. So as we share that video, we encourage you all to start typing in the chat box. If you have any questions for the speakers, you can type it in, and while we consolidate it, you can watch this short clip on Sunil.
While Teresa's sharing, Amresh, I'm just going to share a question with you to pass on to Zamir. The question is, okay, it's about assistive devices from Kartika Angita. As far as I understand, assistive devices and tactile interpreters are vital in accessing information. However, as we know that assistive devices are high cost and provision of interpreters is also high cost, the number of availability of interpreters are not sufficient. How does the deafblind community in India deal with these situations? A short answer right now is we've lost one of our participants because we couldn't access an interpreter. But I'm going to give Zamir a little time to think about it so that he can come back. But you must stay for a few more moments and take a look at this wonderful video. We have two videos, right? Yes. We have two videos to show you.
You know, when they hear about deafblind people, many people might think deafblind people cannot work. They shouldn't go outside. They should be at home. But we can do anything just like anybody else. We can work in companies like anybody else. Companies should give us a chance in employment for us to show what we are capable of. With support, we can do a lot of things. If we don't have money, we have to work, right? Either by making a self-employment or starting up a small-scale business or working for a company. But we cannot be left to be idle. That's not fair. My request to all the hearing people out there in India, in any country, look at us. Look at the deafblind community. Look at our lives. Support us by providing jobs. Companies can support us by providing jobs, and that's very important for a person to live on his own. And second, in education, deafblind people should have good literacy skills, should be taught good language acquisition from an early age. Literacy skills and language acquisition is very crucial in a child's development, and then with sign language they can grow a lot better. It's not like before. I can see a major improvement in education nowadays. I really hope we are looking at a brighter future for the deafblind where we can live with dignity and respect. But we need your support for that.
Zamir, Shipra, Zamir, are you ready to answer?
So about interpreters, the issues that we have because of interpreters, the deaf-blind people need a lot of interpreters. Yes, that is very important.
We can't hear you.
Please
Are
be
you
a
able to
little
hear me
louder.
now? Yeah. Okay, so let me start again. So deaf-blind people, we do need a lot of interpreters. We need a lot of support. But the issue is how do we pay for these interpreters? So deaf-blind people can't pay by themselves. So how do we resolve this issue? Sometimes we do get interpreters who volunteer, but they need to get paid too. So he is an access provider. So this is the sign for access provider. So since he's an access provider, they have they have taken a course, they've got certification, so they become professional interpreters. So hopefully in future we'll get more interpreters. So what we hope is for companies to pay for these interpreters and for government to pay for these interpreters. With regard to assistive devices, we have the braille displays, we have the smartphones, so which can be connected with the braille display. So I would like to show you an orbit device which has got braille display. So that helps us. We can communicate with the computer. We'll connect it with the computer using Bluetooth with the smartphone. So we get the braille display, so we can read it. So these kind of assistive devices are important. So they can help us communicate using phones and computers. We can message other people and our friends. So at home, we don't feel so bored with all these kind of technical assistive devices. So it's very important for us. If these are not there, then we really get stressed. And so I thank God really to, for these kind of devices which are invented. So this is a orbit device. So this is connected with the computer. So, okay, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Zamir. So I think really there have been a lot of questions, specific questions, and although I haven't asked Zamir these questions specifically, I do think that in the course of his answers, a lot of the points regarding access, assistive technology, and so on have been covered. The question of communicating with colleagues at work, I really wanted Pradeep to answer that because I think he really has, he is the one who has been working in a regular run of the mill company for quite a while. What we're going to try and do is to get a recording of Pradeep's answer with interpreting and voice and text, and stay tuned. We will post it. So do stay connected so that we can share these things. I realize that we are out of time, and I'd like to ask if there are any last messages. Shipra, Is there anything you would like to say? Saurav, is there something you'd like to say? We have participants from all over the world, Vietnam, Indonesia. We have lots of people from many, many different places. And we do have a lot of teachers, parents as well. So if there's any last word, I do realize we are not just running out of time, we are over time. So anything that you'd like to say? Shipra, mute. You're in mute.
Sorry. Thank you for asking these questions. This is a very important question. Of course, I would like to send a message to the nation that I understand it's very easy to say, but of course, if you have deaf-blind child, don't lose your hope. There is a hope. So it's better. Our duty is to work. Our duty is not to predict. We are not supposed to predict that he's a deaf-blind child and nothing can happen. So our duty is to work, and please do your work dedicatedly. Of course, a day will come when sunshine. I think so. That I have also proved it with my son. And secondly, I want to give a message to the teachers who are working with the deaf-blind children. Teachers, first before coming to work with the deaf-blind children, your acceptance and your dedications are more important. Initially, of course, you will have some problem, but gradually when you start working, that time you will understand that it is very interesting to work with the deaf-blind children, because we all love to work with the normal children. It's nothing challenging. But if you are working with deaf-blind children, it is challenging. Namita, a long ago, worked with deaf-blind children. Still, she is dying to talk with Saurabh. She can come from Chennai to Delhi to talk with Saurabh, and Saurav's mischievous behaviors, his naughtiness, still she enjoys. It's why? Because when she entered in this field, she thought that yes, my life I will dedicate with these children, and she did it. So I also say to the teachers, if you come forward to work with these children, of course you will prove yourself that you are such a good citizen to work with this deaf-blind children. I will be happy to work with them. You will see that the emotions, the thoughts, the understanding, the everything they are very talkative. They don't have speech, but they have lots of language. Did you understand when a question was asked to Saurabh, what you are doing in this school? He started a long back. Early morning, he gets up and this and that. Mother makes food, gives me in my tiffin. So they are very talkative, I can say. They are non-verbal talkative. So this way, if you work with these children, you would be happy. So I also love. I am so old. I am 60 plus, but still I love to work with deaf-blind children. I feel very happy when Zamir come to my home and I talk to Zamir, I talk to Pradeep. I really enjoy to talk to them. So like that only. If you are interested, if you have dedications, you will enjoy. Thank you, Namita.
Shipra, that was just perfect. That was just perfect. That message is
Thank you.
really marvelous. I'm sure, like I said, there are many teachers, many parents, and many people interested to engage with the population. And surely, having met Zamir, having just had a glimpse of Pradeep, watched Saurav, I mean, I always think those children who are his students are very lucky to have a teacher like him. And really having seen Sunil on even on video, I know that people are leaving with greater excitement. I would say to all of you, please do connect with us. Please join us. Be a part of this movement. This is a minority community, and their ability to have their voices heard depends on all of us to partner, to show support, and to take their message and make it louder, make it wider. Um, Stay tuned. We did put up all our links and everything. I hope those of you who are interested have taken it down. Please stay connected with us. And we are way over time, but for those who are still interested, we have one last treat. A very lovely boy. And for me, the hope, these are all students who started their education in the 80s, but we have in 90s. But we have with us on video this young boy who is a product of closer to today, a younger boy, another school, Clark School here in Chennai. We are very proud that we have strong support of students and people who are deafblind here in Chennai. So he's sent us a little message. So those of you who'd like to stay, we're going to close this seminar with just that one last gift to all of you, a view into another life. Does he introduce himself?
Hi, I'm Harihant and I am from Chennai. I'm currently studying 12th standard, but the schools are now closed because of the COVID-19 pandemic. I hope to go back to school by the month of June, and resume my schooling. Here, this is my braille reader. I love this device. I have a lot of stories in this. This also has a feature called Orbit Chat, in which I can chat with the person next to me. I love chatting. I love reading. This helps me to improve my knowledge. These are my braille notes. I have notes like this for all my subjects, like Indian culture and social science and many such subjects. See, I have acquired a lot of them. This is my braille watch. Let me show you how to check the time. The time now is 6:35. You can open the watch, read the time, and close it. I love playing carom. I have a friend called Amudan. We used to play a lot of carom, and I have photographs of us playing carom. I love carom. Thank you.
Okay, everyone, thank you. Thank you
Very good.
for joining us.
Thank
It's
you.
lovely, huh?
Thank you.
A big hello. I know Dipti Karnad, you're there somewhere in the audience. Dipti is Arihant's teacher. A big, huge thank you to Rajesh, who in the middle of numerous things, exams, job, heaven knows what all classes, also found the time to help us, literally in the middle of his exams, to interpret, prepare the videos, and having finished, I think yesterday, a marathon session of exams, is here with us today. So thank you guys, everybody. We survive in this field because people step up. I'll tell you, it isn't a well-paying field. I'll tell you that it isn't easy work, but I'll also tell you that it is just so much joy. It's so much fun every day to see the world in a different way. When you are deaf and when you are deaf blind, you perceive the world differently. And when you interact every day with people who see the world, experience the world differently, your life is bigger, your worldview is bigger. We really look forward to you joining us over the next couple of months, because in June, hopefully, COVID allowing us, we hope that we will have a physical all coming together. But even if not, we will find ways to bring this the event to everybody online. So please do join us, please do participate, please do spread the word and help us make the cause of people who are deafblind more visible. You've all seen they have capacity, they want life. You heard from Sunil, he doesn't want to be left hanging there retired as a young man. No, everybody wants to participate in life. Give them a chance. Yes, it requires interpreters. Yes, it requires technology. Yes, it requires oh so many things. But that's the joy of coming from a country of our size. If everyone does a little bit, you get a heck of a lot, right? So step up, stay tuned, connect into the SEDB website, connect directly. Anyone who's interested in interacting directly, please get in touch with us. We'll facilitate it for you. It is the best way to learn. Talk directly with families, talk directly with people who are deafblind, and learn from them. So with this, I'd like to thank everybody for joining us. Do we need to post our...
That's okay.
Okay, all right. Okay, so thank you everyone. Thank you Shipra, thank you Zamir, and oh, I am
Thank
so sad
you.
didn't get
Thank you.
chance.
Thank you.